Good luck to everyone out there taking the January LSAT. At this late date, the week prior, I get a lot of last minute questions about what LSAT test day looks like and how should I prep in these final days. So I first wanted to go through exactly what is allowed, what is not allowed on LSAT test day itself, whether you're taking the LSAT remotely or in person. Remotely, of course, typically means from home on your own device. You have to provide your own computer, and yes, it must be a computer. It cannot be a tablet, and you can't take it on your phone either. You can use a pen, pencils, mechanical pencils, highlighter. All of that is totally fine, and you can use 6 sheets of 8.5 by 11 scratch paper. It used to be they didn't specify the size, and I would tell folks you could take it with legal size paper. They've since closed that loophole, so it's going to be 8.5 by 11 standard sized scratch paper. If you take it on blank regular paper or lined paper or graph paper, any of that is totally fine. You can have a drink with you in a clear container. It has to be cleared. It cannot be opaque. They need to be able to see there's nothing suspicious inside that container. And you can use soft foam earplugs. They can't be anything special, nothing fancy, just basic, simple earplugs if you want to. If you're taking the LSAT in person, they will give you noise canceling headphones. You won't be using earplugs in that circumstance, and they will give you a pencil, and they'll also give you their scratch paper, which is most likely going to be blank. It's up to them. It's going to be a booklet, but you can't count on there being lined paper or graph paper if you're taking it in person at a Prometric testing center. As for beverages, it'll be water, and it has to be in a clear container. You can't bring any other beverages at all. And of course, you'll be taking it on Prometric's computers, their device. You're not going to be bringing your own, and it will be a standard desktop computer. Now, as for what to do in the final days before the LSAT, I'm always going to recommend you take the day before off. Don't do any studying at all. You don't want to stress yourself out. At this point, either you know it or you don't. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you're confident and can trust in the prep you've done up to this point. But the LSAT is not a test of memorization. There's not really anything new to learn at this late date. I recommend taking the day off. Just relax, whatever that means for you, whether it's taking a hot bath, getting a massage, binge watching Netflix, going for a walk, weather permitting. That's all up to you, but make the day yours. Trust in the prep you've done up to this point. Confident you're going to go in there and crush it. Now, as for the days before the day before, so if let's say you're taking the LSAT on Friday, Thursday, you're taking the day off and relaxing. Wednesday, maybe you're taking one final timed practice test just to have yet another dry run. You'll review it a bit, and that'll be it. And I always want to encourage you, never place too much importance on any single practice test score. What this means is that if you have an outlier, either super high or super low, don't get overly happy or overly sad. Take the average of your most recent 5 practice test scores, and that'll be the best indication of where you stand. Now, if you're concerned that your last practice test might not go so well because you're stressed, you're feeling burned out, then don't take one. The choice really is yours, and the point here is not to measure yourself or even to learn anything new. It's to have yet another trial run of going through the motions, with the goal being that test day itself will feel like just another practice run. Hopefully by this point, you've already done several full-length timed practice tests, so whether you do one more or one less won't really matter. But again, the goal is that test day itself feels familiar. You're good with the pacing and you're good with the endurance. If so, fantastic. If you haven't taken any practice tests yet and it's the week prior, I'm sorry to say it, but you may be better off postponing your LSAT to a later date. Hopefully you're already registered for February if that's the one you want to take. If not, you might want to take it in April or June instead and apply to law school at the beginning of the cycle in the fall instead. The January LSAT is not too late for this cycle. The February LSAT is not too late for this cycle either. But if you're already looking at April or June, we're getting pretty late in the game, and you might be better off just holding off for a bit. You should also know that April and June are your last chance to take the LSAT with the logic game section. Starting in August, they are removing the logic game section and replacing it with a second scored logical reasoning section. So that's something to keep in mind as well when you're deciding when do you take it and when do you apply to law school. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to see it. Maybe you know someone else out there also taking the January LSAT, and this video could help them get ready for LSAT test day in the best way possible. And maybe you know someone else who's considering postponing or pushing off, and this could help them make a more informed decision as well. If you do know anyone taking the LSAT in February, April, June, or beyond, you might want to recommend they get a copy of my book, Mastering the LSAT, available at lsatmasterybook.com. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.